Welcome back to Day to Day with Greg Michelson. I'm here with a new friend, John Kane. I'm real excited to hear about some of the cool stuff he's working on, so let's just dive right in. John, why don't you introduce yourself a bit?
Hi, welcome. Thanks for having me. John Kane. I run Lazy Edge. It's a new analytical, financial driven engine for sports prediction markets.
Got it. What is a sports prediction market? Are we talking like DraftKings kind of gambling type stuff, or are we talking about fantasy
I like to think of it
football?
as more as just quantitative finance applied to sports. We deal in Polymarket, Kalshi, two of the newer prediction engines where you're allowed to trade options, I guess you will, on sports games. So you can buy both sides. You can buy a 30 cents option on the Hawks to beat the Knicks, or somebody on the other side does the 70-cent side. And then at the end of the game, it calculates to $1, and you move on. And so, our thing, I mean, I can explain a little bit more, but we're more in-game trading. And so we look at data throughout the game as the game flows. There's 160 events in a game that happen. As the game happens, options go up, options go down, retail panics. We look at trading those inner game movements to generate revenue, just like you would day trade a stock. You're day trading sports.
Right. Any all sports? Any particular ones? Or are we football, basketball?
Right now, yeah. So right now, we're heavy NBA, and so that's where we're running most of our data right now. We're building out baseball right now, MLB, and last year we did NFL, of course. We did a little bit of March Madness. We did a lot of linear math on that. It wasn't very much advanced models. The newer advanced models is what we're building right now, and that's what we're running with NBA, and we're starting to build with baseball.
What are the data sources? Where are you getting these real time data feeds?
Yeah, so a couple different places we use ESPN, Ball Don't Lie. We are working on Sports Radar, which is the biggest one. Once we get that feed going, we had a couple trials with them. That will be the largest feed and the fastest feed that we're able to get live game action, right? Because the beauty of trading live is you almost want to see into the future, right? Because if the internet, you're supposed to be able to see before the TV gets it. The TV's on a delay. And so watching the game and then placing a trade, you're behind everybody. If you have the raw data feed as same as the prediction markets and same as the TV gets it before they display it to you, you're basically seeing into the future a little bit.
So the 160 events, what are some of these events? I don't know these sports as well as you do, so hit me with the
No. So like say take an NBA game. A team goes on a 6-0 run. That's an event. And then you look at
6 points in a row
six
without
points in a row. Yeah. So sorry.
or
I'll
six.
make it simple. Yeah.
Sorry, I mean
Yeah.
we're
So
talking to data nerds here.
yeah, I know, right? So a team scores 6 points without the other team scoring any, right? And so all of a sudden, events happen right after that. Coach is generally calling a timeout. Does he call a timeout 2 points after that? Or does he instantly call it when they reach a 6-0 run? Does he call it at 8 points? So we look at all of those factors to determine where the stoppage of play will occur. And then we can mathematically kind of predict how the market will move based on those actions. And so that's why we're running just massive amounts of raw data to look at the coach of the Hawks, Quinn Snyder. He calls timeout 2.4 points after they go on a 6-0 run. And so we're able to say, like, okay, and if the other team scores 2 more points, he's going to call a timeout. He executes after the timeout at a 65% that the team scores a basket. He runs a good play. And so then all of a sudden we have additional math that we can apply directly into the live game feed, look at the prediction markets, see if there's an edge that we can manipulate and say, here's where the market's going to go. We can catch the falling knife. We can pick it up, and then we can trade on the top.
What does trade on the top mean? I don't know what that means.
Sure, no worries. So when we look at just like a stock, so a stock drops down in price, we know where the bottom will be. So we catch the falling knife, as you say. Once
How do you
it
know
hits
where the
that bottom,
will be? How do you know?
so oh no, that's the tricky math. So we have a couple different patents on some things where we actually in Zerv. I guess this makes sense. We're running mathematical predictions, and we're running 10,000 simulations, and then we have advanced AI on another system. As Zerv sends the data to our servers, we start running in-game sims where we take X feeds, Reddit feeds. We simulate how fans will bet before the game. And so we know how much they'll panic when a team gets down, and how much they'll do that because we're actually simulating the trades. So we have thousands and thousands of agents that are watching a simulated game that we generated in Zerv based on the 11,000 games we simulated. We get a digital twin model, and they're able to watch that game play by play because we look at every individual shot and every individual timeout, and then actually model that and say, like, this is where we predict the bottom will be. And actually, so you can see it was going to go down to 36 cents based on the 6-0 run. After the timeout, they're going to score. So it'll be a 6-2 run. The other team isn't likely to score, so all of a sudden it'll be 6-4. It will normalize. And then we'll be able to see, all right, we'll be able to sell at a 10-cent profit.
Okay. And so I'm trying to, do people interact with you guys, or are you sort of working with some of the market, like Polymarket and those guys? So how does it all fit together?
Yeah, so we're a data layer on top of that. And so basically traders will use our service to accentuate their trading. You look at a couple different options. In our system, you can go direct and just watch the feed, watch the lines, watch the action, much like you would do in a Bloomberg terminal if you were a stock trader. Similar fashion. We're looking at everything. It's showing all the data. It's showing all the math. It's showing where there's gaps. It's showing where there's things will go up. And then you can just make trades. The other option is there's an API feed, WebSocket feed, where you can actually load that directly into a bot. You could load it into, OpenClaw or Claude, and actually it will trade for you. You load in your keys, and it connects directly to Polymarket, Kalshi, and auto trades for you. So we send the data directly to that bot that says there's a 10% edge on the current price at this price. Market limit order should be at this price. Go ahead and action that and proceed.
Do you guys run some of those bots for yourselves?
We do. So I do a couple different things. I'm not a huge, I don't bet a lot. It's not my thing, right? I'm good at data. I'm good at manipulating it and using it. So I don't trade a lot, but I do test it, and so because I have to run a lot of simulations. What we do is we run shadow bots. And so shadow bots run in the background and trade on live data. A couple things for that is, one, we want to learn. So that's just more data I can ingest. All of a sudden now I'm learning, when a 3% edge in the first quarter, is that a good bet or good financial trade, or is it not? And so as it's trading after the games are all over, it starts recalculating and running everything to see what was good and what was bad. And then it can learn and trade better. And then we can surface those warnings to users.
Gotcha. How'd you get into all of this? What was the path that led you to where you're at?
So I think back in, I grew up a long time ago. So the 80s, 90s, fantasy baseball was like a huge thing, right? And so that was huge time in baseball analytica and running advanced numbers. The fantasy sports was just kind of coming to fruition, right? Everyone could see the box scores. They printed them in the newspaper every day, and everybody wanted to play games with it. So fantasy sports started taking off. ESPN, drove that up even further. So that was kind of my starting point. Over time, that wasn't my career. I didn't really get into that. I didn't see a path forward in that, and I probably should have. But I got a lot into e-commerce, data analytics. I worked for a bunch of big companies, and did a lot of cool things, built some cool algorithms, did some fun stuff. But in the end, you always kind of come back to your love eventually. And over the last couple of years, I started doing more and more, and just building different systems. Last year we used a lot of linear regression math on models on the NFL. It went pretty well. We were just predicting winners for the most part. We weren't doing a lot in game. And so that kind of advanced forward. And as I started to look at the modeling of, how Polymarket is really massively ingesting data, but then giving it back to the user, because you're able to look at how people trade and you can get all the data. They're really, everything's on contract. A lot of times with crypto, how they do it. And that enables you to get every single source of data, and then they allow you to trade instantly. And so, it's one of those things where I said, all right, this is something, where's some edges in this? Because, I don't look at it as a normal market. I was like, there's something I don't want to just predict the winner. I mean, that's fun, but that's also what everybody else does. But in-game trading and all these events is not really what anybody's doing. And nobody looks at it like that. And so that's where we kind of go. Because when you watch a game, you see the percentage score of which team will win. And that changes and fluctuates. You can trade on all of those. And that's the beauty of in-game trading, is being able to have that edge and find it all along the way.
So I don't know these markets well. Who decides what those events are? Is that something that the like Polymarket does, or is that can
yeah, they do. Yeah.
How does that work?
They pretty much, they try to do everything. So Polymarket right now is, we concentrate on sports, but I mean, they do weather. There's huge money being made in weather right now. They do all political events, and it's really just a way to like hedge a lot of bets. So like a lot of government agencies will, bet on payroll, on what the government will decide on, how payroll is coming out, how the overall systems, and they'll hedge that like an insurance on the percentage that the government will change the rates. And they do all of those things directly in the market. People take the other side. So it becomes almost like an insurance for big corporations. When you look at like weather, it's just, some people want to that's a little bit gambling to me, but it is mathematical. To a degree. We don't use the Farmer's Almanac anymore, but to a degree, you're able to mathematically predict how the weather will change. Meteorologists can do a lot of work, and you can look for edges in that also. It's not quite as fun for me, but they have pretty much all markets now to be able to do that, and so it's very interesting.
You kind of used gambling like it's a dirty word there.
I do, because it's we try to stay away from it because it's more of a financial market to me. When you're straight gambling, you're predicting a winner and you're betting on whether they win or lose. We're just trading on the market. We're not, saying that it's like when you day trade a stock. Sometimes you're trading that it's going to go up 10 cents. You're not trading that it's going to go, to $200. You don't care. You just want to make the 10-cent edge and then get out. So we're trading on the market, more of a financial, quantitative financial method to sports. So it's a completely different thought process for me. But inherently it kind of comes back together. It's still gambling, I guess you could say.
That's okay. I'm interested in sort of the culture of the space, because certainly some people treat it that way, right? Some people are just
they do. As if you look at it like just on a flat thing of the majority of users, especially how Kalshi markets it on their TikTok ads and everything, it's just you can pretty much bet on games, and people use it instead of you look at DraftKings where you can straight bet in a lot of states. Kalshi operates in all 50 states, and you're able to just buy odds on a prediction on a game. Is traded in a similar fashion. You're buying 30 cents for that you hope it goes to $1. Most people trade it like that, but
wait, explain that to me. What does it mean to buy 30 cents? I don't follow what that means.
Yeah. So you're getting 30 cents on the dollar. Say Atlanta to win against the Knicks on Saturday. I think it's 34 cents on the dollar. And so you pay 34 cents. If Atlanta wins, you get $1. So you're making 66 on each dollar. So each share you get, somebody is on the direct other side of that. And so it's 1-to-1.
These probabilities fluctuate based on who's betting what. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's so much similar to like an order book in the stock market. You have somebody bets $5,000. They're asking their bid and their ask. They're asking, I want to buy 5,000 shares at 34 cents each. As people come in on the other side, that order book starts going down, or somebody will come in directly on the other side and take all 5,000 shares on that ask.
And are the odds in these markets solely based on who's betting what, or are there other data feeds that are kind of influencing what those odds are?
It's it's pretty much based on 1-to-1. So like you'll see some spikes and there'll be some arbitrage where the bid and the ask is really thin, and so then all of a sudden you'll have some huge spikes and you'll be able to get some stuff. People have bots for that and they make a tremendous amount of money just buying in on those.
Bid and ask. Tell me, what does that mean?
So like somebody will come in and say they'll want 5,000 shares at 34 cents.
Gotcha.
And so that's their current bid. The current ask maybe like I'm willing to come in at 40 cents. They're not willing to go down to 34. So there's a gap in there. And so market people who just buy market will just sit in the middle a lot of times, or they'll just take the 34 cents. So it just matters on that the people kind of they set that just like you would set a stock price at the end of the day. Same kind of theoretical theory, but it's done on sports, so it's a little bit different on that.
So let's say I go on what was the team? What was the
Hawks.
game? The Hawks. Okay, the Hawks.
Yeah.
And I say, okay, I want 15 cents, but you said it's at 34 cents, so like that's. So do I put in 15 and then I'm just out there waiting for somebody who wants to go 85 kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly right.
There's a list. There's a list of bids out there, and you just pick the one you like, or do they sort of?
Well, no. So you'll cycle down. Eventually, the game will change, and then all of a sudden, it will start trading where your limit is. Like so, that's kind of what we do in a way. Is we predict the bottom falling out and the price going down to 15 cents. So if your order is sitting there at 15 cents waiting for it to come down to you, then eventually the market will come down to you. Everybody will take your 15-cent order. Then you can sell at 25 cents because you've waited for this. It's kind of the thought process. It varies in a lot of sports, like golf recently. The Masters just happened. Before the tournament started, you're able to get Patrick Reed for less than a penny. He came out hot in the Masters. He spiked out to, I think, 16, 17 cents. So you were able to 16x. And so,
So if I bought bought a penny and then he goes up to 16 cents, I sell my pennies for 16 cents? Is that the idea? Like you can sell?
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So it's just like a thin layer. Some people will hold it all the way to the end, right? Because that's what you do in gambling. Like theoretically, you just I like Patrick Reed to win. I'm going to hold him all the way to the end, and if he doesn't win, then I lose. In this case, you're just trading that he's going to come out hot, and he's better than the market's predicting right now. And I do predict him to do well, and he'll trade at a higher rate, and so I'm able to get my money out and take 16x. I did $100 on that, and so that's the only reason I know it. And so I was able to exit at like 14 cents. I think I was able to get. Took the 14x. Just happy.
Yeah, I can see how you might be happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to ride things out to the end, and in these prediction markets, there's a whole market for that also. Huge money markets will come in, and people want to cash out right away to get their liquidity, and so they'll sell at 99 cents when the game's over. The market doesn't it doesn't push the money to you right away. Sometimes it'll take like 45 minutes. So people will buy the 99 cents just to make a penny. But they'll do that in such huge volumes that they'll end up making money because there's no guaranteed loss. People just want their money early.
Got it. And if I wanted to bet on, say, I don't know, LeBron James's color of his socks, like, can I create crazy stuff like that, or does the market create the events?
Yeah, the market creates the events. They generally do a lot of what the announcers will say, not a lot of like what the players will wear and everything. So the announcers, like right now, this weekend for the Hawks, next game, they're doing a lot of, they say trade, they say triple double. There's markets for all of those things.
But the announcers have to be able to see that, right? Like that feels like
yes.
you could.
There's tons of talk about that. Yes.
Yeah. So there's no.
They know when they say certain things, it's going to go off. Yeah.
I see. But they could place bets on themselves, I suppose.
Yes,
Stop it up.
I think, yeah.
Wow.
You see that a lot in political speeches. When Elon talks and he mentions something, or earnings reports. Earnings reports are very heavy for that. When people do earnings reports, they'll look at what words they might say, and then there's prediction markets on that. CEOs will know that, and they'll say somebody just made like $1 million. It's just kind of openly talked about.
Crazy, man.
It's also because data is so much out there, you're able to see like if people are manipulating things, and that can be exit. Because if you purposely do things to manipulate it, they can ban you from the platform, not give you the winnings, those type of things.
So do you foresee a tidal wave of regulations coming down the river for this whole sort of non-traditional market?
I think at some point there'll be some different regulations. Right now it's the
Wild West.
It's a little bit Wild West, but the CFTC gambles it.
What does that mean? What?
They put it in with trading, so not in with gambling. So there's this mixture because Polymarket and Kalshi, like their patents and their trademarks are in the gambling sphere, but their actual talk of how they do things is we're in the trading sphere. And so it's a little bit different. I know Donald Trump Jr. is on the board of both of them. So, I mean, they're heavily in the pocket, you could say, I guess, of making sure that it's very open and do it. It's interesting. I think it's the future of a lot of things. So, I mean, I think there will be some regulation, but I think it also changes a lot of dynamics because, I mean, I look at it in home prices and, options and buying a home. A lot of cool stuff I think you could do in the future.
So do you get to see the individual bets that people are making from your platform or?
No,
No, you don't get to see.
So I don't know any of the data. Eventually, we're building a desktop app, and so the desktop app will be more similar to like a Bloomberg terminal that you would have. That would give you, and a couple things. We did a patent on a bulk trading feature, so it can load in tons of options all at one time, and a couple different functionality for that, and that will give us a little insight. We won't see everything because I mean it is user data and it's on their desktop. Just because it's a lot of private keys, because it's access to tons and tons of money. We don't ever want to have that on our servers. But overall, it's getting any insight into that is great because, I mean, I can look at that and like look at, how markets move and, things that we can do differently, what people are losing on, how can we do better, what can I surface more to train the bot better, or really, what can be shifted, what's missing in the data. There could be something cool there that I just haven't thought of yet.
Now, how does it work if, I'm wondering, it seems like some of these events there would be a pretty low volume of people betting on them, yeah? Like it sort of only works if you have lots of folks that want to buy positions, yeah?
It really does, yeah.
Where not very many people want to bet on them. Do they just go away, or how does it work?
They'll just sit there. With people will have bids, and nobody will ever bid against it. Nobody wants to get in that action. You set your orders and just kind of like hope somebody takes it. So that happens a lot. There's, especially in like player markets, a lot of like, will the announcers say certain words? Like nobody wants to take some of those on the other side, so they'll have $10,000 where an individual game may have $2 million in total volume for like the money line or just the straight who's going to win.
Do they show you the volume of bets on a particular event?
Yeah, exactly. To get accurate, like in-game feed, so we're matching up like how the game happens, play by play, and then we're taking in the live feed of how people are trading on the site, and we're layering the two things together with all of our algorithms and all of our prediction engines, and so we're putting that all together, surfacing that all over the top, and you'll see as the price shift, the edge of where you can bet or where you should actually buy positions sits. So that's why we do all the advanced modeling in Zerv, so we can, in game, we're just able to do calculations because we're feeding in so much data during the game. I can't run machine learning right on the same server.
Got it. Okay, so where are Can you also see where people are making the most money on these events? Like which ones are
You
more
can.
profitable than others?
Yeah, you see it's really heavy. When they look at overall, they say only I think it's a really real low number. I think it's only 5% of people make money on prediction markets. And I think it's a lot of people treat it as
How is that possible? Like mathematically, somebody's got to win every bet, right?
exactly. Most people lose it later, or it's a lot
Yeah.
of high risk stuff people take. People will, I mean, there's just tons of different trading strategies, but the big players will just make tons of money. A lot of that because they're using the advanced modeling and the advanced data. Also, they're willing to take a lot more risks and they can lose, whereas a lot of retail can't lose as much, and then they're out, and so retail gets hammered. And so that's kind of where
Retail.
so just like a normal person, so like they do $100 a week, say more of a retail trader, the Robin Hood of traders, right?
Gotcha.
Somebody who buys stocks, but he's playing against somebody that's a quant, and like, you get BlackRock or some of the other like big trading companies that are putting millions of dollars in a second, and so you're trading against that, and so you're always getting a worse price for a lot less money. And that's kind of where we kind of come in to say, like, here's an easy way to actually have that mathematical edge and actually trade against them in a correct way instead of trying to fight and just pick winners and losers.
Gotcha. Now, I imagine that there are some sports and some types of events that are sort of more prone to prediction. I knew this guy. His name was Jay. We used to work together at Data Robot, a company I worked at, and he would spend time predicting the Kentucky Derby, like the horse racing stuff. And he said as long as it didn't rain, it was really easy to make money doing that sort of prediction, because the rain just sort of changed everything. But he said there's a lot of sort of signal in the data for that particular sport. Do you find that that's true in one area more than another, or one sport more than another?
Yeah, I mean, things like that fluctuate. So baseball, a lot. Like, I mean, we have tons of data for baseball just because it's been one of the most analytical sports out there for a very long time. I mean, you look at Moneyball. I mean, the whole theory is based on data, and so I mean, it's one of the things where everything and everything's put out there. You need to know, like for that instance, we need to know that a reliever's warming up and they threw 30 pitches in the warm up and didn't get in the game because their decay factor for the next game they pitched, which is 3 days later, they pitched, they had 30 throws of warm up. And so we can factor in all those things and look at, so that's all good data. When you look at the same thing with weather in those games, the Cubs have, they're supposed to be, I think the wind's blowing out to the left-hand side, left field, at like 16 miles an hour, which is like the biggest wind of the year so far. Plus 5 home runs is like a huge bet in that game today. Now it's like 22% odds when normally it's at like 2%. And so all of a sudden, like, all these things change because you have all this data and you look at humidity and everything. Horse racing, I haven't done a lot of that. So, I mean, I know that there's a lot out there. I just haven't played in the field yet a lot for that, I guess. Thinking about it that way to know what's out there. Most of the major sports I'm starting a little bit of World Cup, but I look at baseball, football, basketball, college pro, kind of my wheelhouse. That's not to say we won't do some other things though in the future.
Okay. So can people use your platform, or is it more for kind of the big guys?
No, yeah. So we're just launching now this week, and so it's live now. People can check it out. It's lazyedge.net. And so it's all live right now. I think everything's working. We published a lot of stuff yesterday and turned everything on. I've been testing it for weeks. Looking at the APIs are live, the dashboard interface, the main global screener. We have series info, players. We predict all of their individual performances, above league average, below league average, how we look at the playoffs, and then all the in-game data. And so we have a good bit of data for every kind of person, whether you're a fan or you're like a quant trader. And so we're able to surface everything right for the user, right on the display. Right now, we're only web-based, and then we have the APIs for Claude or for OpenClaw, depending if you want to use bots to trade. In the future, later this year, we'll probably be done with our desktop app, and then you'll be able to trade, directly from there. And then we'll have a mobile app also for fans, if you will. I want to make it easy for fans to have some fun with it also.
So if there was somebody like me that knows nothing about it, but they want to say, put $100 down and just have fun with it, how would you advise them to get started? What do I do?
Easily, like Kalshi is really easy to do. It's an app you can download that gives you the opportunity to connects right to your bank account, your debit card, whatever, and you're able to deposit $100 instantly. You can look at lazyedge.net. The game starts. We're in the first quarter. You'll see at the bottom of the screen the over-under prediction, and it will look at how things are progressing with the state of play, how the points are being scored, and then give you a point total. And that point total will be like 240 for the game. You can look directly at Kalshi, and basically Kalshi has it at, people are saying, it's going to be over, but you're like, no, it's going to be the under because I've done the math. I know the pace decay. I know what's actually going to happen in the fourth quarter. And so because we're predicting that, you can say, I want to buy the under, and it's going to be under 230 points. And then you take that, and then you just sit there and wait. If the system starts to say, all right, there's a huge point surge, we're now predicting it to go a little bit over, you can still hold or you can trade out. Or everyone else catches up to the data and they say, oh, wow, it is really the under. All of a sudden, your price goes up, and all of a sudden now you have $150. Sell out, take your $50.
Sounds complicated.
It is. It's like right now, because I'm so deep in the data for the NBA, it's like watching The Matrix for me now. I'm looking at all of this, and it's like things are happening, and I'm like, oh, a timeout's coming. They're going to run a play. I know this play is going to be for this person. It's this going to happen. I could probably be on the coaching staff. I know the team's tendencies to like go on the other side, and like, yeah. So it's just a lot of math in my head at the same time. Eventually I want it to be when we get our desktop app, it'll auto trade. You select kind of your limits up and down, and that way you can just watch the game, and then money accumulates in your account.
Or decumulates.
Or decumulates, exactly. I think eventually with enough data, I think it will do. There's always chaos, right? And so we build a chaos twin, and the chaos twin is a different style of game that kind of happens, and we're able to model that also. So if all of a sudden the game starts to go into a chaotic mode, everybody's losing money. All of a sudden we can switch because we've probably modeled that also, and we'll start to pick that up, and you'll start to accumulate back quickly.
Fascinating. Well, John, this has been really interesting. This is an area that I really know nothing about, and I'm super interested and excited in the data feeds and the intelligence that you're feeding out to people with these, that are playing in these areas.
No, it's super interesting, and I want to say Zerv has helped me a lot because I can run theories rather quickly, whereas before it would take me a lot of time to program something in. I can look at it just this morning and say, looking at this game, I think a lot of the player projections are a little off. Run me some back test data on this, and the system does it for me, which makes it super easy. And then I can test things really quickly. I can back test. We run 11,000 games, so when we look at a game this weekend, we're looking at, model me back the last 10 years. And find every game that was similar to this game at every single aspect, and see what's similar, and what things we can extract and what value we can extract from that. So I've super enjoyed it. It's been fun.
Well, tell me what's going to happen in the future with these markets. What are they called?
Prediction markets.
Prediction markets. Yeah. What to me it seems very Wild Westy, and it feels like there's going to be some changes on the horizon, whether it's regulation or whatever. But what does everybody think is going to happen with these?
I think there'll be a lot of regulation, but I think it will still be open, right? Because Polymarket's very international. Most of it's blocked in the U.S., and so you can't use a lot of it. They're beta testing a lot of the functionality in the U.S. now, but most of it's international. And so you have huge amount of people that are interested in American sports that are filling the markets right now that aren't Americans. And so that's where all the action is coming in. And then, of course, everybody that's using VPNs or using offshore accounts. But Kalshi operates, directly in the United States. The FTC regulates them, and so, I think they'll be able to continue on. I think there'll be a lot of, when they're betting on or predicting on people dying or predicting on wars and missiles and bombings and things like that. I think some of that will start to be regulated, and they'll really push hard against that. But when it comes to sports, people love data and people love to trade and love to do things. So I think there'll always be this analytical nature of the system. I mean, Kalshi and Polymarket are the biggest. There's still there's probably 200 different, prediction markets that operate. And so, I mean, I think it's always going to be around for a while in some form or fashion, because somebody's always willing to sit on the other side of something.
Fascinating. Well, certainly a lot to think about. John, I really enjoyed chatting with you. I'm excited about your project, and I can't wait to see how it goes for you. Keep us posted.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Love it.
Nice.
Anytime.
All right, John. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.